Let's face it, forms in React have always been a nightmare. Do you see the issue with this code? If not, I don't blame you. TypeScript doesn't either, despite passing a string into a number field. Even popular form libraries have quirks that just make React forms feel a bit awkward. But the TanStack team, the same people behind React Query, React Table, and TanStack Router, finally made a form library. Let me show you this in like 2 minutes. I promise you're gonna like it. First, call useForm, imported directly from TanStack Form. Pass in an object with 2 things: default values, which has the shape of our form, and what all the values will start as. For example, we have 3 fields in our form: name and email, which start as empty strings, and age, which starts out as undefined. And lastly, onSubmit, which is the function that will be called whenever the form is submitted. For right now, it's just an async function that console logs the state of the form. And that's it. Your form is all the way set up, just like that. How do we get it working in the JSX? Simple. We have a form that just wraps 3 inputs. The first thing we'll do is give our form an onSubmit. It will call form.handleSubmit directly from our form object, and above it will prevent default to prevent normal form behavior. Next, we'll wrap all of our inputs, meaning all of our form fields, in this form.field component, again referencing our form object. We need to give each of these fields a name prop that matches its corresponding value up here. So for example, this field right here is going to have a name of name. This one would be name email, and this one will be name age. The very last thing we need to do is inside each field, render out our inputs with render props, that being field. If you don't recognize this pattern, don't worry, I promise you I'll explain it in just a second. With this field, we can now hook up our inputs to our form. We can now follow the value and onChange patterns that most form inputs do, where for the value, we just plug in field.state.value, and for onChange, we just plug in field.handleChange as if it were any other onChange event. And then we can do the exact same thing for our other 2 fields as well. Add a done button with type submit that submits our form, and boom, that's it, we're done. Our form is fully complete and ready to go. If I go over here, type in Austin for the name, type in austin@something.com for the email, type in 25 for age, go ahead and open up our console here. We will click the submit button, and here we can see our form values displayed just the way we expect. If I change age to 17, click submit, we will of course have updated values. Now, before I explain the intricacies of how this works, and before you click away just brushing this off as another form library, I have one question to answer for you. And that question is, how is this any different or better than React Hook Form? Like, why would I just learn another form library? React Hook Form is great. I've used it, you've probably used it, but here's the thing. React Hook Form was built in 2019, before TypeScript was everywhere, before Zod, before TanStack Query changed how we think about React. TanStack Form was built now by the same team that made TanStack Query, arguably the best library in the React ecosystem, and they built it with one thing in mind: type safety that actually works. With TanStack Form, you literally cannot typo a field. TypeScript screams at you before you even save the file. Every field, every error, every piece of state, fully typed all the way down. For example, in this demo, I intentionally put age to undefined to force a type error down here. If I instead make this start out as a number, like 0, it knows that it's a number now, but we still get complete type safety. This e.target.value is a string, but it expects a number. So now, if I typecast it to a number, everything is happy and it just works. If I misspell age right here, like add an extra e, we're going to get a type error saying, wait, that's not a valid field. Everything in TanStack Form is typed 100%. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to use this really cool library so you can create some super clean forms. Stick around to the end and I'll show you some really simple and clean patterns to follow. First and foremost, let's talk about the main pattern of TanStack Form. The core of TanStack Form is this useForm hook, plus wrapping all of your inputs with this form.field component. Let's talk about useForm real quick. UseForm is the main hook of TanStack Form, something that is very similar to React Hook Form, although it works a bit differently. As I showed you in the quick demo, it takes an object with 2 key properties: default values, to give our form some default state, and onSubmit, which is the function that runs whenever our form is submitted. As for any form, what happens when the form is submitted is entirely up to you. With many real-world forms, we typically make some sort of post or put call to a backend or API. Dealing with backend is a critical aspect of form handling, and that's why I want to take a second to talk about today's sponsor, BOOT.DEV. BOOT.DEV is a coding platform that teaches backend development in Python, Go, and TypeScript. Since I'm already in the TypeScript ecosystem, that's the track that I went with. Full stack TypeScript, no switching languages. The whole platform is gamified. You're earning XP, leveling up, completing quests, and even fighting bosses, like this new Lord of the Mire event that just dropped. And honestly, the gamification works. It keeps you way more engaged than most coding platforms. I've been working through some of their TypeScript backend lessons, like their course on HTTP clients, and recently I started learning Go. For learning something new like Go, I can confidently say that Boot.Dev has been extremely helpful and a more fun experience than any other learn-to-code platform. There's also Boots, a wizard bear AI tutor who nudges you when you're stuck instead of just giving answers. Plus, Training Grounds, a place where you can grind challenges for extra practice. All content on their site is free to read. Paid membership unlocks the interactive coding and game mechanics. Use code Austin Davis or this QR code right here to get 25% off your entire first year with the annual plan. 30-day refund if it's not for you. The link's going to be in the description. Huge thanks to BOOT.DEV for sponsoring this video. Oh, also, I'll be giving away a full year of BOOT.DEV access to one of you guys as a thank you for being part of this community. To enter, comment down below what you're currently learning or building right now. And make sure to join my Discord, link in the description, because that's where I'll announce the winner. Anyways, back to the video. There's more things regarding these options that I'll discuss in just a moment, but these are the two core properties you need for your form. UseForm returns this form object right here. This form object is a huge object that has everything you could possibly need in a form. In multiple spots we reference this form. For example, we have form.handleSubmit, form.field, and you get the idea. I'm generally a huge fan of destructuring, so instead of taking this entire form object, we can destructure field and handle submit out of there and just reference all of those directly without having to do form dot everywhere. It just makes it a little bit cleaner. This handle submit call within our form on submit is what will actually invoke the on submit inside of our use form. So when this is called, this function gets invoked. Now let's talk about this field structure real quick. Field uses this render prop pattern, meaning we get this field object passed down, and it has everything we need to wire up our input. If I console log out field, I can show you what we're working with. It looks like a lot, but really there's only two things in here that you need to actually care about. First is this state field right here, this object. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. This field.state has your value, the actual data in the field, and meta, which is all the helper stuff, like errors, whether it's been touched, whether it's dirty, all of that. Second, aside from this state object, is the handler functions, like handle blur, handle change, and functions of this nature. These plug directly into your input like I showed you with handle change right here. It's the same idea for all these other handler functions. And that's really it. Don't get intimidated by this. We have the state object, which just contains the value and the metadata, and then we have the handler functions. We'll use a lot more of this meta stuff when we get to validation. But speaking of which, now that you have a basic understanding of the core idea behind TanStack Form, let's actually talk about form validation, an absolutely essential part of form building. Form validation means ensuring that all of your fields are valid and conform to some type, like making sure an email has some sort of @ symbol in it like this and isn't just some garbage string, and making sure somebody's age isn't just 0 because that doesn't really make any sense. Because users can control and modify these fields, we need safeguards. And that's what form validation is. There's a couple of ways to validate in TanStack Form, so I'm going to break it down simply. The easiest way to validate forms is at the form level within the useForm hook. How you do it is in useForm, just like we have default values and onSubmit, add something else in here called validators, which will also be an object. In here, if I control space to get IntelliSense, we get a ton of options on when we want to actually do validation. I'll explain these more in just a sec, but you can see we have a few things here like on blur, on dynamic, on mount, on submit, and so forth. Let's take the most common validation use case, on submit. Whenever the form is submitted, we want to run some validation. So what do we actually put in the on submit right here? If you want to manually validate form fields yourself, you can do it like this. We just pass in a function for on submit, we get value, which is just the state of the form, and we can check individual fields. For example, we can say if the email doesn't have an @ symbol, we return some error saying there's no @ symbol there. If you want to do validation manually, this is how you would do it. But wait, nobody's honestly got time for this syntax, and it's 2026, so we're going to use Zod to make this way easier. Up here, we can define a super simple Zod schema for our form. We're saying that name has to be a string with at least one character in it, email has to match some sort of email structure, and age has to be a number that is at least greater than 0. And then, instead of doing all this manual validation garbage, we can actually just plug in our Zod schema directly. We can say form schema just like this. TanStack Form has full support for Zod. And I know I'm giving a bit of my own opinion here, but I'd highly recommend Zod, especially if it's already in your app. But TanStack Form also supports many of the other schema libraries that are popular, not just Zod. And now we don't have to worry about any sort of custom validation. It will literally just check our form values directly against this Zod schema and return errors if there are any problems. With that being said, how do we actually get or display form errors? After all, this is an essential part of forms. Well, we can go to each specific field and we can actually get all the errors from this field object. I showed you earlier that we have errors within the metadata of each field. So to get the errors for an individual field, all we have to do is we can say const, and we can destructure errors directly out of field.state.meta. With each field, you could have multiple errors, so errors is going to be an array of all the possible errors. Once you have these errors, how you display them is entirely up to you. One very common way of doing it would just be to have a span underneath the field that just has, I don't know, some red text inside of it, and it would just take the very first error there is, so errors at index 0, and display whatever message is there. We could wrap this all in a div just to get rid of this warning, and we'll say we only want to render out this entire span here if there are any errors at all. Obviously, if there's no errors, we don't want to have a span just sitting there with nothing in it. We could say something simple like if errors.length is greater than 0, then we want to display it. We could throw optional chaining on here, and now it's good to go. And we'll just give our div some styles here to make it look a bit cleaner. All we're saying with our errors down here is if we have any errors, so if errors.length is greater than 0, then we're going to conditionally render a span that has some red text that just displays the message of the first error. If I apply this same error logic to all of our components, watch what now happens. I'll refresh the page so we can start clean. My form is completely blank, so I'll go ahead and just click submit. A completely empty form doesn't match the schema shape at all. Therefore, we're going to get errors for each of our fields, as you can see over here. For example, the name needs to at least be 1 character, the email address does not follow the actual email pattern, and number is 0, meaning it's too small. And it's really that easy. Simple validation. If I want to customize these error messages, we can of course do so with Zod. For example, let's say I want to change the error messages of the name and the age fields. I can go up to name, add a comma, say something like name too short, and then for the age, I can say age too little. I can go ahead and save it. Let's just refresh and empty submit again. And now we have our own custom messages. So what your error messages are, how you want to display them, when you want to display them, and everything like that is entirely up to you. And I want to quickly reiterate that the only reason that validation is happening once I click this submit button is because this validator's object right here. We're saying we want to validate against our Zod schema only on submit. However, the problem with just doing on submit is that depending on what state we're in, the errors might not go away when they actually get fixed. I showed you earlier some different functions or callbacks we can actually use to validate. If we do the IntelliSense here, we have things like onChange and onBlur. OnChange and onBlur are both two very common callbacks for form validation. If I want to also validate onChange, I can do that as well, just like we're doing with onSubmit. I can say onChange, I can take our form schema and just paste it in here. And now we're validating the schema on submit and on change. If I go ahead and save this, go ahead and refresh our form here, and I submit it, we have errors in each field. As soon as this name gets something in it, like the letter P, the error is going to go away because we've just revalidated on change that it's correct. If I go backspace, go short again, it's going to go back to having an error state. So now if we combine on submit and on change, we can get error validation more aggressively. However, in a lot of cases, I think this pattern of using on change can be a little bit too aggressive, and I actually prefer to use on blur. I think on blur is typically a more accepted pattern. If you want onBlur to work like this, just like you pass in the handle change right here for each field, you can also just pass in an onBlur here and just give it field.handleBlur and apply that to our other two fields. What onBlur means is that validation doesn't happen until you blur, meaning unfocus an element. So for example, again, let's say we reset this page and reset the form. We trigger an error state, so these all have errors. And let's say, type something in the email field. We still have the errors here. Let's say I type an actual valid email address, it's not going to correct itself until I click out of it and then blur the field, but now the error goes away. OnBlur is generally going to be better UX than OnChange because it's less aggressive and doesn't show any error until after you're done interacting with the field. Errors popping in and out while you're editing can be annoying, which is why OnBlur is usually preferred. So this right here is a pattern I recommend in many cases, having validation at the form level with onSubmit and onBlur. Although, like I said, the customization on when you want to validate is entirely up to you. Form level validation, meaning inside the use form hook right here, works really well, especially with Zod. However, it does have one drawback. When we have our validators inside of our use form hook like this validation is always going to happen at the form level, meaning even if I'm only blurring the name field, it's going to trigger validation for the email and age fields as well. For example, right now on blur, we're saying show errors immediately. Let's say I refresh this and I go into the email field and I type something that isn't a valid email. Like let's say just Austin, and I blur it. We're going to get errors for all three fields because we're validating at the form level, meaning we're validating everything. It doesn't make a lot of sense to show errors for the name and age fields when I'm just modifying the email address field. Earlier, when we were talking about our fields, we went over this meta object that has some metadata. There are a ton of helpful booleans in there to prevent this exact thing from happening. For example, one that is called isTouched. IsTouched will only be true if we've already interacted with that field so far. We can destructure out of the metadata, and we can actually include it in our conditional render. So we can say if error length is greater than 0, and isTouched is true, so it's been interacted with already, then and only then do we show our errors. What I can show you now, once I added that to all the fields, is when I refresh, none of our fields have been touched yet. Now if I go into the email field, it has been touched. Now that it's been touched, if I blur it, we're going to show an error in that field and only in that field. For the name field and the age field, isTouched is false in both, so we don't show those errors yet. If I go into this metadata destructure and I control space to get the IntelliSense, there's more booleans that we can use to control when we show errors. When, where, and how you display them is entirely up to you. If you want to use things like dirty state, pristine state, valid state, blurred, all that, that's up to you, and you can pull them out of the metadata directly. You have tons of options. Before we end this video, we can make this code way cleaner. I'm sure you've noticed so far, but everything that we're doing inside of each of our fields is a lot of repetitive logic and a lot of repetitive JSX. Obviously, you wouldn't want to have this all copy and pasted in a real-world app. You'd want to clean it up a little bit. The beauty of React is, of course, that all this could easily be componentized so that it doesn't need to be repeated over and over again for each field. For example, we could make a component like text field that just does all of this in a single React component. It has all our same styles, gets the same errors and isTouched out of here, and does all the logic for the error displaying, handle blur, and all the needed functionality that we've just gone over. And now, instead of repeating code everywhere, we can actually just use text field directly in each of these. We just render out text field, and we pass down the necessary props to make sure each field works properly. And now the code is much cleaner and not so wet. Just like every other aspect of this library, TanStack gives you full control on how you want to display your forms, your form errors, and all the like. If you want to componentize your whole entire text field, or maybe just your errors, that's the beauty of it. It's entirely up to you, and there's so much flexibility with how you can do these things. I want to talk about one very last thing before we end off. If you really want fine-grained control of validation with TanStack Form, you can validate at the field level too. TanStack Form supports that. But honestly, if you're using Zod, form level validation like we've done using the validators within the useForm hook is, in my opinion, cleaner and keeps all your logic in one place with one source of truth. No matter what, we're always referencing form schema, so this is the universal source of truth for our entire form. However, if you want to validate individual fields one at a time, instead of at the form level all at once, you can throw validators on each field just like you can with useForm. For example, let's say this name field right here, I want to validate just by itself individually. I can give it a validators prop just like our useForm takes. And it's pretty much the exact same structure. If I control space for IntelliSense, I get all the same options that useForm has in that validators object. They're typed just the same. So I can say at the field level, I want to validate onChange. OnChange, I want to make sure this is, string and a minimum length of 1. Just like we have in our form schema. And actually, let's say 3 instead of 1. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And now you'll notice if I validate at the field level for the name field, I go in here, I type 1 character, and I immediately get an error because we're triggering it with this onChange. I get an error if I type another one, but once I go over 3, then it's happy. When I do this, I'm only validating this field, none of the other ones. Just like doing it at the form level, I can do multiple here. I can say on blur, I could do something like on submit, you get the idea. Plenty of options to choose from. TanStack Form gives you these two options for validation. Form level validation within useForm, which we talked about earlier, and then field level validation, which is what I just showed you, where we pass in the validators to each individual field. Field level validation like this can give you super fine-grained control over validation, with the trade-off that now we have two sources of truth. This schema right here, saying it's a string with minimum length 3, is completely detached from the Zod schema that we have up here, which actually has a different string, say it's min length 1. This is why if you're using Zod, I think it's typically preferable to have it as one schema and to validate at the form level just like this. Otherwise, you'd have to basically get rid of the entire schema and have individual schemas like this on each field on the validators, and that can get messy and unorganized if you're not careful. But of course, every form is different, every use case is different, and TanStack gives you the ability to pick and choose your battles. So that's TanStack Form. Type safe, flexible, and when you pair it with Zod, your validation logic stays in one place with zero guesswork. You've got these field components handling your state, form level validation, keeping things nice and clean, and if you ever need field level control, like this validation down here, it's there. Stop fighting your forms. Let TanStack do the heavy lifting. And honestly, there's a lot more that TanStack Form can do. Async validation, dynamic fields, field arrays. If you want to see stuff like that, and you want me to go into a more advanced tutorial of TanStack Form, please let me know in the comments. And with that, we're going to end this video here. I again want to thank BOOT.DEV for sponsoring this video. I really do like their product and would highly encourage you guys to check it out if you're curious. Promo code in the description below. And don't forget about the giveaway. I'll just reiterate, if you want to take part in it, leave a comment with what you're currently learning or building right now, and join my Discord where I'll announce the winner. Hopefully this video gave you some inspiration for your React forms. Give this library a try. I promise you, once you get the hang of it and want to start building out some more complex forms, you're going to love it. Take care everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.